Julianne always believed betrayal came from strangers, never imagining it would come from the people who hugged her goodnight and swore they loved her. Yet standing barefoot on the cracked cement floor of a shack her parents had dumped her in, watching rainwater drip from the ceiling into rusty buckets, she learned a truth that shattered her. Hello, my silent echoes, and welcome back to The Late Shift. I'm Clara, and tonight we are stepping into the life of Julianne Mercer, a young woman who realized that to her family she was never a daughter, but simply an ATM with emotions they refused to acknowledge. Julianne's life was a strange mixture of privilege and quiet suffering, for while her grandmother Beatrice Mercer was a legendary billionaire, that luxury only existed for her parents and her two brothers, while Julianne was raised on psychological debts and manipulation sugar-coated as duty. At 15, when her father's business failed, she was told she was the strong one and had to help keep the family afloat. At 16, she gave up her savings. At 17, she took a part-time job to pay household bills while her siblings played video games. And at 18, her mother stole her scholarship money, claiming she was investing it for her. Every burden she carried was repackaged as duty until the year Grandma Beatrice had her stroke, and Julianne's parents seized the opportunity like hunters spotting a wounded deer, moving into the mansion to control the fortune while exiling Julianne to a decaying shack behind the old poultry house because they claimed she was too stressful for the recovering matriarch. While they lived on heated floors with imported silk curtains, Julianne slept on a mattress so thin she could feel the wooden frame beneath her spine, enduring the cold because part of her believed that enduring made her noble. But she was wrong. One evening, a driver in a dark suit knocked on that shack door, visibly disturbed by the squalor, to tell her that Beatrice requested to see her alone, a word that gave Julianne the strength to bypass her parents who tried to stop the meeting. When she stepped into the private suite, expecting a fragile old woman, she instead found Beatrice sitting upright with eyes sharp as glass, observing her like she already knew the scars, telling Julianne that the isolation wasn't for peace, but to keep her from seeing the theft happening under the roof. A chill crawled up Julianne's spine as Beatrice pulled out a thick black folder containing forged signatures, unauthorized withdrawals, recordings of the parents complaining about the cost of the grandmother, and proof that Julianne's scholarship money had been siphoned into a secret account. Beatrice told her that she was the heir not because she was the eldest, but because she was the only one who knew what suffering felt like, and only someone who has suffered can protect an empire, handing her the folder which wasn't just an inheritance, but ammunition. 2 weeks later, when Beatrice passed peacefully, the parents staged a performance of devastation for the cameras, but at the will reading, the air grew heavy as the lawyer announced that Beatrice left the entirety of the Mercer estate to her granddaughter, Julianne. The room froze, her mother's face dropping as her father blinked rapidly in confusion. But the true blow came when the lawyer played a video message where Beatrice's voice filled the room, declaring that Julianne was the only one who never abused her trust. As her mother whispered no over and over, Julianne placed the black folder on the table, heavier than gold, and slowly revealed each page: forgery, fraud, financial abuse, responding to her father's plea that they did it for the family by telling him he did it for himself. When her mother grabbed her arm, claiming she wouldn't destroy her own parents, Julianne looked her in the eye and said they destroyed themselves when they abandoned her. The sheriff arrived at the estate gates 3 days later while the parents were having breakfast on the veranda, handing them the eviction notice, and when her mother screamed that they raised her, Julianne calmly replied that they raised her like livestock, and now she was free. Her father tried to use guilt, saying they were blood, but Julianne corrected him, stating that blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family, and they had the first, but never the second. After the estate was legally transferred, Julianne didn't throw a party, but walked quietly through the halls, rehiring the staff her parents had fired and rebuilding the legacy, until one afternoon she found a sealed envelope marked for her eyes only containing proof that her brother's savings and scholarships had been stolen too. She called them to the house, where they arrived expecting punishment, but instead she showed them the truth, and as they read the document silently, they realized they were all victims of the same greed, allowing them to talk for hours and reclaim their sibling bond. The lawsuit proceeded, convicting the parents of elder financial abuse and fraud, stripping them of everything, accounts frozen, assets seized, reputations shattered. And though they begged for mercy, Julianne knew that mercy is earned, not demanded after years of abandonment. Today, Julianne has modernized the company and transformed that rotting shack into a lavender garden in Beatrice's honor. Whenever she walks through it with the breeze touching the flowers, she whispers a thank you for the strength to choose herself. People ask if she feels guilty, but she tells them she didn't evict her parents. She evicted the people who pretended to love her, and every night as she locks the doors of the mansion that once rejected her, she remembers that revenge isn't cruelty. It's reclaiming the parts of you they tried to erase, and at last, she is whole.